We spent 60 million on our campaign, apparently. They spent 51 million. Let's see how it's going. Oh my goodness. Oh no. We got 99% of the vote. The Queen is back, baby. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Spiffing Brit, and today we're playing Democracy 4, a game where you are the president or prime minister of a democratic country and you have to lead it through the various trials and tribulations of actually running a country and getting re-elected. Now, Democracy 4 is usually a game about balancing the quality of life of your various citizens to try and encourage them to vote for you again. But you're of course limited by the fact that you can't just make sweeping changes because that would cost too much political capital than you actually have. But what if you had unlimited political capital, meaning you could make any change you like instantaneously and as many times as you like? Why, you could just change a country entirely. Suddenly one day your citizens wake up and there's 100% income tax, and then the next day income tax doesn't even exist. Sure, it's a kind of confused society, but it's an exciting one, and that's what we're going to be pulling off today. Now, I know that there are some very important electoral stuff going on at the moment, although I'm sure it'll probably have all happened by the time I actually release this video. But as you know, this is the Spiffing Brit, a channel where we drink tea, praise the Queen, and do absolutely nothing political. So if you see anyone in the comment section trying to be political, make sure to tell them to sit down and go grab a cup of tea and biscuits instead, because this just isn't the place. So from this point on, this video all about breaking and exploiting, a game all about running politics, is now a politics-free zone. That's right, as we're going to be playing the United States of America, famously the country which is the most quiet about just how democratic they are. They certainly don't like to go on and on and on and on and on and on about it. So what are we doing today? Well, we'll be taking the United States of America and putting it on the path to spiciness by quite simply removing the democratic element from the United States of America. Instead of democracy, we will be enjoying totalitarian monarchist regimes. Now, doesn't that just sound fantastic? Who wouldn't want to turn the United States of America into a monarchy? Okay, I can probably know quite a few people, but today they don't have a choice because I'm the Spiffing Brit, this is a video game, and I can exploit every single video game, meaning, I'm sorry America, you simply stood no chance. So without further ado, let's throw ourselves into this game. Now the thing is, when it comes to coming up with a political party name, we need to make it unsuspecting so that the actual voters don't work out what we have planned. For that reason, our party shall be the Boston Tea Party. That way they will never suspect our party of actually being staunch monarchists who are secretly trying to overthrow democracy. The opposition party will of course be the Movement for True Freedom, and these will be our lovely default settings. We don't actually need to change much now. Brace yourselves for a game which is graphically interesting. Unlike most strategy political games, you're not controlling your country via a map. Instead, you're controlling your country via sliders and massive buttons. I love it. It's fantastic. Now, welcome to the game. What is this game all about? Well, we have a cabinet, and this cabinet basically produces us our political power, which is right here in the middle. It's our political capital. We spend our political capital changing things, like for example the funding we put into science. At the moment we spend $7.71 billion per turn on science, and if we wanted to turn it down, sure we could, but we'd have to spend 5 political power to lower the amount of money we're spending on science to just under $1 billion. And I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, political capital is very expensive and rare to come by. We can only store up a maximum of 32 political capital, meaning heck, we can't even form a monarchy just yet. Why is that? Well, it's because in order to form yourself a monarchy, you need to have your executive term limit set to 7 years so that you rule in power for a very long time. But then more importantly, you need to set the executive term limit, aka the amount of times you can be the president or prime minister, not to 2, not to 3, not to 4 or 5, but instead none. Also meaning you can be the president or prime minister forever as long as you keep winning the elections. And trust me, we are never going to lose the elections. Not with what I have planned. Oh god, this game is going to be ruined. So we start out the game with basically a deficit of $100 billion, and when it comes to popularity, we're not very well loved. People aren't going to vote for us if there's a brand new election. So we need to find a way to gain more money to spend on random rubbish so that we can then sink that very same money into doing crazy things that will make people happy. Now, pro tip, if you ever want money and you're playing playing as America, one fun thing you can do is simply drop the military spending to nothing, because we start out spending 180 billion a turn on military. Now this is a democracy simulator game, not a war simulator, meaning it doesn't actually matter whether we have a military or not. So we're about to reduce the size of the US military from an overwhelming force and the largest military in the world to non-existent in one turn. But how are we going to do it? Because we can't set it that low in one turn. We don't have the 22 political capital necessary to drop it to nothing. How are we going to get it down to 0 when we only have 16? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to do a little bit of exploiting. So of course, make sure you're sat back, relaxed in your chair, and you have a nice warm cup of tea in hand, and heck, you might even want to like the video because we're about to kick this into overdrive. So what we're going to do is simply slide the slider down to the bottom. This is going to put it to here. This is the lowest we could possibly lower it with our political capital, and instead of pressing apply changes or revert changes, we're just going to press the back arrow. Now remember, the actual spending for military is over here at the moment. This is what we're currently spending money on, and we want to reduce it to here, but we don't want to reduce it with it actually costing us, so we're going to press the back arrow. And by pressing the back arrow, something interesting has happened, because the military spending has already dropped itself to that point, and we can actually drop it even further despite the fact we haven't pressed any accept buttons, meaning we haven't spent any political capital. So once again, we're going to back on out of the menu, slide it right the way down again, back on out of the menu using the back arrow, and then slide it right the way down to the bottom again, and then do this one last time where we lower the amount we're spending on the military from overwhelming force to ceremonial only in one turn. And how much is that going to cost us? Apparently 6 political capital. Nope, I want it to be less than that. There we go. If you do it a couple more times, suddenly it's only going to cost us 0 political capital to lower the military spending of the US from overwhelming force to just a ceremonial army that stands around and waves a flag at special events. And in just one swift move, we've managed to gain a stupid amount of money. But of course, not all voters are happy not having a standing military. So what are we going to do in order to get the voters on side? Well, all you need to do is find one particular voting group of people from this list and try and make them as happy as possible. Now, of course, the group of people we're going to pick are religious. Now, of course, there are many types of religious people, and that's fine. We don't particularly care. What we do care about is the fact that they make up 53% of the population. They're mildly unhappy at the moment, but if we made them very happy and made the entire population religious, then that means people are much likelier to vote for us. But how on earth do we make more people religious? Well, it's a very simple thing to do. All you have to do is simply crank up the amount of money we're spending on faith schools, because this will increase the amount of people becoming religious every single turn. So we just want to increase it up to low, then of course back on out of the menu, increase it up again and again, and we're just going to have to keep doing this until we get right our way to the end. Now at the moment, in terms of a policy, this isn't exactly the most popular policy in the world, but it doesn't cost us very much money, and the more people that are religious, the happier they're going to be that we actually have this policy in place. So this is a policy which basically creates voters to like us while simultaneously having them literally like us even more, so that they will always permanently vote for us. So we're bad. We've just taken faith school subsidies right up to the maximum, and it's cost us nothing. It's going to take a few turns to actually implement that, but once it's up and running, things are going to be looking very jazzy. Now, there is also one other thing that we can do to really make people happy, and that's to edit the press freedom rules in our lovely brand new country, because you see, the press freedom slider is one of the few sliders in the game where you can make everyone, that's right, this is a setting which applies to everyone in your country, like you more. How do you make people in your country like you more? Well, it's certainly not by having maximum press freedom, meaning your press can write about everything. It's all about having no press freedom so that you decide what's on the newspaper. Sure, it lowers the amount of democracy in the country, but honestly, that doesn't actually matter, because we're not here for democracy. Sure, we're playing a game called Democracy 4, but really we're just about trying to get the Queen into power. So we're just going to use this lovely little exploit to slide all of the sliders right the way down to the bottom, just in one single turn. Now, normally making basically any change in the game takes several turns of saving up political power, and then you have to invest a huge amount of political power in literally just making one small change. But in just one single go, we've managed to eradicate press freedom, meaning every single news station in the country is now spouting fantastical news about the Boston Tea Party. And equally, if we want more religious people in the country, what we're going to do is change the entire education system to not just have religious schools, but also focus almost entirely on religious studies when students are in schools. This is going to be great because it means we're going to have generations of people simply just becoming obsessed obsessed with religion. And when they're obsessed with religion, well then we get to experience the fantastical thing that is the amount of religious people in the country increasing from just 53% to something a little bit more. Now, I've spent the rest of my political capital doing basically nothing else, but I think it's time for us to end turn 1. And at the end of our turn, things have gone fantastic. Our budget deficit is only 83 billion, and the polls report 3% of people will apparently vote for us in an election. That's a decent start. Our cabinet is reported to be loyal, and their effectiveness is considered to be passable. That's okay. Now, after our first turn democratizing, things have gone quite well. I mean, our budget deficit is down. We're about to have a major drug addiction problem, and not many people want to vote for us. In fact, popularity is at the lowest it's ever been, but that's okay because it doesn't matter. We're going to win this election whether the people like it or not, because guess what? The religious people are on the up. We take a look at the membership statistic. There's an increase. Ooh, and so it begins. So let us simply end our turn once more, and oh my goodness, yes, the private space industry has arrived, which increases the happiness of everyone and increases GDP. Lovely. Oh, and our polls have gone up. We've gained 6% in the polls. That's brilliant. Our budget deficit is down to 64 billion, and the only major issue, I guess, is that apparently the Environmental Alliance, which is a group of 34 million members, those guys are currently becoming a little bit of a threat and standing outside the doors of our various political rivals. This might be very scary. However, fear not, ladies and gentlemen, because we can quite simply crank up the amount of CCTV cameras from just regular old town centers to facial recognition systems located everywhere. That's right, you can never escape. And do you want to know how much it's going to cost us? Nothing. That's right, in order to pass this bill through the various parliaments of the United States, it will cost us nothing to convince all parts of government that actually we should have a facial recognition system. Oh god, what have I done? It's fantastic. Now, you know what? We have 15 political capital, but I don't actually really want to spend it on anything. So instead, we're going to do a couple of campaigns. We're going to have the Queen, evidently the leader of our party, be interviewed whilst jogging around. This is going to make her look like a strong and powerful leader. Equally, can she be trustworthy? Yes, because she's eating breakfast in a typical builder's cafe. Oh no, that went wrong. Seriously, people didn't believe that the Queen would just eat waffles and a sausage in a regular builder's cafe in front of 200 cameras? Is that not natural human behavior? These peasants are so hard to please. Right, now it's time to end our turn again. Here we go. Lovely stuff. Great news, everyone. The national team wins the World Cup. That's right. The American football team, famous for winning nothing, has managed to win. Our credit rating has also been upgraded, so everyone's super happy in society. The budget deficit is really on the down low. And my goodness, look at the polls. Would you see that? 17% of people intend to vote for us for the next election. That's brilliant. Oh, the Environmental Alliance has started protest outside of the homes of government officials, but I'm sure it's fine because our security effectiveness is on the up. Speaking of which, press freedom has almost reached rock bottom, which is perfect for us. CCTV cameras have almost completely been rolled out everywhere. And you know what? Let's really spice things up by giving the police submachine guns. It's of course going to cost us nothing. Now, how are things going with our religious friends? Well, great news. Happiness is at an all-time high, and equally, they now make up 61% of the population. Perfect. Now, a few turns later and things are already looking great because the amount of support we receive from religious people is very high. They're very supportive of our policies, and now 70% of the country are religious. This is absolutely brilliant for us. Oh no, and there's a liberal plot to overthrow us. The Freedom Rebellion is trying to attack us. Now, they have 1,000 members, and the Avengers of Mother Earth have 2,000 members. Now, this is great. However, I'm going to need to put a stop to this. So we're going to give the intelligence services brand new spy satellites, and that should keep us safe. I mean, technically, our popularity is at its lowest ever now. We're only at 1%. That's fine. I'm sure it's okay. Oh no, there's been an assassination attempt. That's right. Some eco-terrorists have tried to murder the Queen. It's okay. Don't worry. The richest company in our country has also paid no tax. That's fine. Our credit rating's gone up, so that's made people happy. And people are no longer antisocial in our country for the sole reason that if they so much as swear in public, we can send the police to their door and have them evaporated using high-tech spy satellites. Now, in order to keep ourselves safe, what we're going to have to do is get police drones up and running, and of course crank this to maximum. We need as many police drones as possible because police drones will be able to protect us from the various terrorist and insurrectionist plots to overthrow us. Whilst all of this is happening, things are going good for religion as membership is now up to 75%. That's right, 75% of the country is religious.
I'm
I'm afraid we, the People's Republic of Queenieland, interrupt today's mandated fun tea drinking and spiff watching time to remind you that it is your legal obligation to press the like button. Failure to do so will mean that your house will be vaporized by the Secret Services. And trust me, we know if you've been laughing at the jokes or not. Remember, failure of enjoyment is punishable by death. Now, back into the lovely video.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, things are going great for us because guess what? The next election is only 3 months away. That's right, it's fantastic because if we were to win the next election, then fantastic things would happen. Winning an election generally means that your popularity will go through the roof and you can gain more political power per turn. Now, if we were to then invest that political power for good uses, like say bypassing democracy and creating a lovely and fantastically perfectly balanced monarchy, then, well, I mean, there'd be absolutely no one to stop us now, would there? Now, things in our country are going quite well. In terms of religious people, membership is up to 86%. That's right, it's fantastic. Look at that. 86.7% of the population are tea drinkers. The coffee drinkers are slowly all converting into becoming tea drinkers. And of course, the religious people are fanatically loyal to our government, meaning they will vote for us. Now, of course, very importantly, it's time for us to do a whole bunch of speeches. So it's time for us to do a rally and get some people on side. Now, the people we want on side are, of course, commuters, because they can really love us. Parents, because they hate us. State employees as well, I guess. That makes sense. All right, let's give our ultimate speech. It's going to be fantastic. Here we go. Speech reception. People are loving it. They're absolutely loving it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. Who wouldn't want to vote for the Queen? That's right. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. She's in America, and you love that. Yes, she's giving out free tea. Isn't that brilliant? Oh, my goodness. Look at that. Everyone loves the Queen. What a really good speech. Everyone loved that. That was absolutely brilliant. Naturally, next turn, people are going to be losing their bloody minds over the Queen. They just absolutely want her everywhere. Now, technically, I could edit some policies here, do some wild things, but I'm actually going to do absolutely nothing. I don't want to make any changes because I want to save my changes basically until after the election. So instead, I'm going to be spending almost all my political capital on various media stunts. That's right, I'm going to be filmed feeding a baby lamb. Look how humanly I am. Yes, I'm a human. I will also attend a funeral of a police officer. There we go. People love that. They love that. And then for my final media stunt, I will be filmed hunting with a rifle, and people loved it. It's the Queen with a gun, ladies and gentlemen. It's that meme. We just showed it to people, and immediately 36% now believe we have a strong leader. Oh, perfect. Right, let's go on to the next turn. How are we doing in the polls? Because that's all that matters now. 14%. Okay, that's fine. The election is drawing near, and we currently only have 8,000 members, whereas the Boston Tea Party has more members than us. That's okay, because I have a plan. You see, we have a budget surplus of 32 billion, and what do you do when you really want to win an election? You crush the income tax down to basically non-existent. Perfect stuff. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, fantastic. Now, of course, we are going up against the Movement for True Freedom, a fanatical opposition party with 18 million members. Meanwhile, the Boston Tea Party has just 5,000 members. Oh, goodness, I really hope we can win this election. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can. Oh, it's election results time. The Boston Tea Party versus the Movement for True Freedom. And it's off to a flying start. There we go. We're up to 30 million. Oh, Movement for True Freedom is lagging behind. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. With 65% of the vote, we've managed to win. Look at that majority. That is a historic night for the re-election of the Boston Tea Party. Technically speaking, 57% of the country did not vote, which I'm sure is fine, but you know, this is a unique democracy, a very special democracy, so it doesn't really matter. Right, it's time for us to begin our next term, and naturally, you start your next term by immediately getting rid of all of the ministers who don't give you enough political power. That's right, it's reshuffle time, and we need to bring in people who are willing to make us huge quantities of political power so that we can make the sweeping changes to society that we need to make. So there we go. Look at all of these brand new fresh faces willing to spew out massive quantities of political power. This is fantastic. So it's time for us to end our turn once again. Oh, apparently pollution is no longer a problem. Pollution is over. It's fantastic, and we've gained a technological advantage. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, things are going great, and because everyone in the country likes us, our political capital has increased to 38 political capital. This is it now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the great moment for our society, and it's the moment of the game breaking. The Queen has asserted enough political capital in order order to edit two sliders, the executive term limit and the executive term length, also known as the length of time you can serve when you're the leader. In our case, it's currently about 15 turns, and then the amount of times you can serve as the esteemed leader. Now, at the moment, the people of America love the Queen so much, they're willing to let something pass, but not necessarily a lot in one go, because with 38 political capital, we can't make sweeping changes. We would only be able to increase this once, allowing us to rule again just one more time after this. However, this game has a slight exploit, of course, as you know, because we're going to be able to increase the executive term limit up to 3, press the back arrow, then click on it again, increase it up to 4, press the back arrow, click on it again, drag it up to 5, press the back arrow, and then click on it once more, drag it right the way up to none, back out, do it again, ladies and gentlemen. And what we're about to do is spend 0 political capital to make it so that the Queen can run to become the president as many times as she likes, effectively meaning she can be leader for life. And seeing as the Queen physically cannot die because she is an immortal thanks to the copious amounts of tea she drinks, this means the Queen will rule over America forever. And we've just passed it, and how much political capital did that cost us? Absolutely nothing, meaning we can also make another change. We can increase the executive term length to 5 years, and then increase it right the way up to 6 years, and then increase it even further to 7 years, and then repeat this process again. What does this mean? Well, this means the Queen now runs for life, but she still has to do an election, which of course she'll always win, but the elections will now be every 7 years instead of every 4, meaning we can do a lot more crazy things. But how are the people of our country doing? Well, they're doing fantastic. Religious membership is now up to 99.45%. That's right, 326 million people in this lovely country are absolutely fanatical tea drinkers. Membership will keep on going to 100%. There will be no coffee drinkers. Oh, we have a bad situation involving tax evasion going on. Well, it's fine. I've crushed income tax, so it will probably stop happening. And because I've lowered tax, look at that. Look at that. One turn, we just lower income tax massively. Look at the amount of people willing to vote for us. It's gone from non-existent to 69%. And now we have 38 political capital lying around, which we can spend on whatever we like. Like this, the general media censorship. That's right. No longer will we have pesky media outlets trying to tell the people what's happening in the news. No, instead, we will have a general media censorship. What does this do? Well, it is naturally a little bit of a kick in the teeth for liberalism. However, it will mean that we will always appear to be a strong, trustworthy, and compassionate person. Is it going to just be newspapers? No, no one reads newspapers. All media will be monitored. It will all be pro-spiff. There we go. And now our popularity is just going to go up and up and up and up and up. Oh, goodness. And oh my goodness, we've done it. Polls report our popularity is at 100%, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. Total, complete control. Popularity is at 100%. Why is that? Well, 100% of the population are tea drinking fanatics. The other half also don't receive any news outside of what I deem to send them. And what does this result in? Well, it means that there is technically no one in a terrorist group to try and murder me. Not that it would even make a difference if they were inside of one of these groups, because look at our security effectiveness. We have armed police everywhere, CCTV cameras everywhere. Our intelligence services can spy on you in your living room, and we can also hear every single call you make. It is perfect. Oh, and fantastic stuff. The Boston Tea Party is getting more popular. In the last quarter, we've apparently added 8.3 million new members. Look at those fanatical supporters. Oh, it's perfect. How's the movement for true freedom doing? Not so good. Only 12,000 members. Oh, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, is it just 2 more turns till election? Honestly, I don't need to do anything. I really don't need to do anything at all. I don't need to do anything. We've won. We've won. This is it. It's election time. It's the Boston Tea Party versus the movement for true freedom. We spent 60 million on our campaign, apparently. They spent 51 million. Let's see how it's going. Oh my goodness. Oh no. We got 99% of the vote. The Queen is back, baby. Oh, you can't stop it. You can't stop it. Oh, that is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. Right, time to do a cabinet reshuffle. All of you pesky people who aren't pulling your weight. Well, that's basically just you, actually. I'm afraid you've got to go, Mr. Economy Man. All right, there we go. We've got everyone in. What's this? Blasphemy. A website has become popular which is highly critical of my tea drinking religion. Banned. That's it. That's just banned instantly. Oh, we're getting getting even more members into our political party. We're up to 15 million members now who are fanatically supportive. This is brilliant. We've got 45 political capital. Who knows what the maximum amount of political capital we can have is? But if we were to get an insane quantity, we could pass some pretty wild bills, like the mandatory microchip implant, or ID cards everywhere. If we take a look at the country we've created, we basically have 92% of the population are patriots, diehard people who love the Queen, and then also 100% of people are fanatically tea-drinking, worshipping hooligans who are just also fantastic. Oh, I love it. I love what I've created. Anyway, next turn, we're getting even more popular, 37 million members now. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to implement next. I mean, we could go for this climate change adaptation fund because that would really help stop this water shortage issue that's currently gripping us. But instead, I think I'm just going to implement the Drone Strike Act. Surgical strikes, surveillance, infrastructure strikes, or just preemptive strikes. Yes, well, we can drone strike anyone. Sure, what could go wrong with decreasing foreign relations by a terrifying quantity? Sure, it'll be fine. Oh no, we've accidentally caused a little bit of a problem. Wait, claims of stockpiling weapons of mass destruction have been used as justification to bomb military targets in our country. People have bombed our country. Oh my goodness. I think that means we need more military spending, if you can believe it. Oh great, and now drone protests are happening. Brilliant. Okay, look, right, we can chill the Drone Strike Act. We can just have minor drone strikes, okay? Small baby drone strikes. Okay, actually doesn't really make much of a difference other than how much it costs. I don't think there's necessarily a great way to stop people being upset about the drone strikes. Now, it's the turn before our election. We're allowed to make manifesto pledges, but honestly, we don't actually need to make any because we're going to win this election completely. I mean, there is physically no way for us to lose. Get ready to watch this lovely election. It's the Boston Tea Party versus the Movement for True Freedom again. We've apparently spent 200 million on campaigning. Not that it really makes much of a difference because so far they've got 0 votes. Come on, surely someone's gonna vote for them. Someone? Oh my god. Hang on a second. 0 votes for the opposition party. This is technically a democratic election, meaning the opposition party has to have someone trying to at least run to be president. So that means the person running to be president against us didn't even vote for themselves. They are so overwhelmingly in love with the Queen, they voted for the Queen, despite being the leader of the opposition. Not even his family voted for him. What is going on? Oh no. It's so lovely to see democracy working in a perfectly balanced way with no exploits whatsoever. Oh my goodness, we have 86 political capital. Sorry, what? We have 86 political capital. That is insane because that's going to allow us to do whatever we like. We can bring back national service or, my personal favorite, the mandatory microchip implant, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Oh my goodness, you are terrifying but fantastic. Ah, yes, let us bring it in. It will upset the religious core, which has definitely helped us out, but it matters little because now everyone will have a microchip implant in their brain. Lovely stuff. And with microchips inside of everyone's brain, I think now is probably the time we actually call an end to our lovely run in Democracy 4 for the day. We've created a little bit of an abomination for the country. Everything's gone a little bit insane. If we're talking about the political compass, it's gone a little bit everywhere because we've accidentally turned all of the voters into diehard capitalists who fanatically drink tea. We've decreased democracy in the country by 90%, increased the lifespan by 69%, completely removed crime, reduced CO2 emissions, really lowered business confidence, but everything else has kind of gone up. Honestly, I'd say things went pretty well indeed. And who knew all it would take to really improve society and effectively grant immortality by increasing lifespan by 69%? Who knew all it would take would be to completely remove the need for democracy? Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've all enjoyed watching today's video, and if you have, feel free to give it a like as it does massively help us out. Make sure that there's no angry political things going on in the comment section, of course, and heck, if you want to see more videos like this, then do consider subscribing. I'd absolutely love to have you on board. I'm going to, of course, ask you, the lovely ladies and gentlemen at home, what video you'd like to see next. Do you want to see A, a fantastical Skyrim exploit, B, a majestic Heroes of Might and Magic exploit, or C, do you want to see me just try and break Cyberpunk already? Anyway, as always, a massive thank you to each and every one of my majestic patrons who make these fantastic videos all the more possible. Seriously, thank you very much, you lovely people. And heck, if you sat there wondering what video you'd like to watch next, well, look no further than this one on screen now, hand chosen by myself to be absolutely perfect for you. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day and goodbye for now.